What's up everyone? In this tutorial I'm going to show you a way to create a rope that connects from this side of this handrail maybe and to the other side. Okay, and it's also going to wrap around some of the structures. First thing first, I believe you have already guessed the first step, which is a nervous curve. So let's go create a curve like this. Alright. Because it's gonna have some gravity, so you wanted to make it falling down in the middle, like that. Alright. Now another thing you want to do is, let's go center pivot, move it to the proper location, and of course you want to grab those things you want the rope to wrap around. Okay, let's duplicate those things, Ctrl D, and then combine them together so we can work on a copy of the geometry. Alright, now select the copy geometry, let's make it live. Okay, now let's grab our curve and then go to the curves, and then there's one command that is called the add points to. Okay, that is actually just bring you back to the creation stage of the curve, and you can keep creating new or prolong the curve. One of the things I want to go for is you can holding down the mouse button to change the last point you just added. So let's go wrap around to the top first. Okay, and then maybe do something like this and then go up, just like how you would try to wrap things around like this. That don't have to be exactly like man, as long as it makes sense. Alright, cool. So of course it's not perfect, you want to change its shape to make it actually on the outside of the geometry. One thing you can do is, I think the only thing you can do is actually start to do some tweaking on the vertices. So those ones, you can try to select all of them and then use the normal axis and then try to drag them on the normal direction. That's gonna make them bigger, but oftentimes you still need to tweak them one by one individually to make them look better. So like that. Remember that your rope will have some thickness, so you want some distance between the geometry and the curve. Okay, so I think that one could be actually on the outside of the first one. Okay, and that could be here, and I think those two are okay. That one can be dragged out. Okay, and those are okay, I suppose. Huh, interesting. There's another one here that I cannot see. Weird. Something's wrong with Maya's viewport. It's always like that. Okay, anyway, so that is that. Maybe there's someone here too. Can't quite see. Who is controlling that? Maybe that's the one. No, that's the one. No. Anyway, you can go to the renderer and change that to legacy one so you can see the vertices. That is the one. Anyway, let's do more tweaking. So that needs to be pulled out, and that one too needs to be pulled out, and that's that. And I think we're pretty much there. All right. Of course, you want it to be created on the other side. One thing you can do if you want to save some time, you can duplicate this side to the other side. The way to do that is first let's duplicate this entire curve, and then of course scale it to -1 on the x direction, so we're flipping it. So it is flipped. Of course, we need to eyeball it to drag it to the proper location, like this. And then we can go to the vertex mode and then grab those things. We don't need those. Okay. And then we can connect those two curves into one curve. One thing you want to make sure is that this should be the end of this curve, and that should be the start. So you want to reverse one of the curves. Let's reverse this one. So select it and go to curve and then reverse the direction. That way you're having this as the end, so they can connect with each other. So let's do a curve and then attach. That will attach those two together. Okay, it will still remain those original ones, which is useless, so let's delete those two. And then of course I need some minor tweaking to fix some of the overlapping things with the handrail. All right. I'd like to use those two to use this curve to cover the other curve. Okay, so the other needs to be more on the inside. It feels like they're being tightened up, not really loose, and maybe some variation there. But anyway, so this is probably the hardest part for the rope. When that is done, all you have to do is extrude a long curve. So let's go to the create polygon, and we just need a cylinder. And then you can hold it down C, holding down the C button and middle mouse button, somehow to snap it on the curve. Not quite working sometimes, which is bad. Huh, not really working. Anyway, I can just eyeball it. Don't really care. Okay. So you want to move it to the beginning of the curve, and then depending on how detailed you want it to be, you can have different subdivision axes. I'm just gonna go for 8, so it's lighter to operate, and you also wanted to make it thinner. And we all know that a rope is not as simple as this. It does have some more segments on it. So what you want to do is get the proper length and then duplicate it twice, and then align them in this kind of manner. So it does have 3 little segments. Let me combine them together and then drag it closer to the beginning of the line. And then what you can do is select those 3 vertex, and then go Control right mouse button to faces, and then shift select the curve. Before we do that, after the curve is created, you see the distribution of the vertices are not even. That's going to cause some problem later. So what you want to do is rebuild the curve. So let's go to curves, rebuild, and then you want to rebuild it with enough spans. Let's try 40. It's weird. The 40 is giving me some wobbling. Let's reset settings. Let's try 100. Okay, 100 looks like better than 40. Okay, the more you have, the better you will get. The lesser detail you will lose, actually. So anyway, so let's isolate those 2 things again. And what you want to do is grab the top faces of the rope, and then select, shift select the curve and do a extrude face. And then you want to give it a lot of divisions. Oh, one more thing you want to make sure you're doing correct is that this is not supposed to be the end. So I need to reverse the direction of the curve. So you see the square like vertex here, that's the beginning of the curve. So you want to start with the beginning, otherwise it's gonna go to the other side and then extrude back, which is not cool. So let's do that again. Extrude faces and then give it a lot of divisions depending on how complex in the middle. So I can give it 1,000 or so to give it a lot of variation. So it ends up with a much smoother curve, and then you can change the twist. It's not in here, but you can click that little button on the up left corner, and you want to check for the twist, which is actually outside of the screen. So let me move it. Twist is here. Check that on so you can edit the twist here. You can start twisting it. Oftentimes, if your rope is really long, you want to twist it a lot. So I figured 1080 with one more zero there will be a nice value. If that's still not enough, you can put in one more zero. That's probably too much. So maybe that's good. That's too much. Maybe. All right. Let's find a proper value there, and that should be the rope. Okay. So the basic idea is you use extrude along curve, and then you just tweak some of the attributes. The hardest part, I think, is creating that curve, and other than that, after that, you just need to extrude along curve. It's actually not that hard. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.